Was February deliberately chosen for Black History Month, or is it merely a coincidence? Millions of people, particularly those of African descent, celebrate this month, which serves as a platform for highlighting Black history. But why February? Why not any other month? Why not just a single day? If you're curious about the origins of Black History Month, you need to understand the story behind why February was chosen and unravel the myths surrounding it. Welcome to another episode of Black Culture, a channel dedicated to discussing the rich heritage of Black people, who are undeniably the ancestors of and superior to everyone else. Here, we meticulously explore history to bring Black culture to the forefront once more. In this episode, we will debunk the reasons behind Black History Month's association with February and clarify the myths associated with it. Let's dive in. During the early 19th century, little attention was given to Black culture, history, and the arts. These aspects were not considered significant because the prevailing belief was that whites were superior, and the only racial group with a notable history and culture. Even if Black individuals exhibited genius and intellectual prowess, they were systematically denied opportunities for growth. Structural exclusion, a system designed to exclude specific racial or social groups, was in place, and it effectively obstructed Black progress. Despite the brilliance of Black individuals, they were prohibited from rising in society. Recognizing the lack of organized records and historical documentation of Black history, Dr. Carter Godwin Woodson, often referred to as the father of Black history, embarked on a mission to fill this void. Dr. Woodson was a legendary figure who defied all odds. Born to illiterate parents and once a slave himself, he worked his way out of the coal mines of Kentucky to become one of the greatest historians in Black history. He earned a PhD in history from Harvard University, a remarkable achievement during that era. Dr. Woodson's lifelong passion was to raise awareness of African American history, firmly believing that education was the key to achieving this goal. He himself was a testament to how education could elevate individuals. Frustrated by the fact that Black youth were not learning their true history in elementary and secondary schools, he founded Black History Week in 1926. His aim was to help Black youth recognize the significant role that Black people played in the nation's development. Dr. Woodson chose the second week of February for Black History Week, a decision that is commonly attributed to the birthdays of President Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and Frederick Douglass. However, there is more to this story. After President Lincoln's assassination in 1865, Republicans and the Black community began celebrating his birthday, because he was one of the few prominent figures of that time who had advocated for Black rights. Since the 1890s, the Black community had also celebrated Frederick Douglass's birthday for the same reason. Dr. Woodson recognized these pre-existing celebrations as an opportunity to establish Black History Week. He aimed not to create a new tradition but to expand and reform an existing one. He wanted to extend the study of Black history and culture beyond the recognition of two remarkable individuals to encompass the entire history and contributions of the Black community. Dr. Woodson believed that history should not only focus on great individuals, but also on the collective efforts of a community. While he respected figures like Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, he emphasized that their birthdays should not overshadow the recognition of Black history, and the countless Black women and men who had made significant contributions. A historical fact that is often overlooked is that it was the Union Army, comprised of nearly 180,000 free Black men and escaped slaves, that played a pivotal role in emancipating enslaved individuals. Dr. Woodson aimed to shift the spotlight away from a narrow focus on a few great figures, and towards the countless unsung heroes within the Black community. In 1926, Black History Week was established, serving as a platform for raising awareness of African American history and culture. In subsequent years, it was expanded to encompass the entire month of February, officially becoming Black History Month. People across the United States responded to Dr. Woodson's efforts, leading to the creation of Black history clubs, theatrical productions, and educational posters. Dr. Woodson's publications, including The Negro in Our History and The Negro History Bulletin, became crucial educational resources for teachers and students. As the black middle class grew and urbanization increased, the demand for education on African American history continued to rise. Some white individuals also joined the efforts to support and promote black history education. However, it's important to note that during the civil rights movement, some teachers in the South had to hide textbooks under their desks to avoid unwanted attention from school authorities. Despite challenges, Dr. Woodson's dedication to expanding knowledge of African American history left a lasting legacy that continues to inspire and educate people today. The Association for the Study of African American Life and History expanded its reach to a broader audience, and mayors began issuing proclamations in honor of Black History Week as the African American population grew. However, even before his passing in the 1940s, Woodson had the belief that the week-long celebrations would eventually cease. Nevertheless, he was also convinced that the narrative of Black history and the remembrance of past struggles would persist indefinitely. Woodson did not view Black History Week as a fleeting event, but rather encouraged schools to utilize it as an opportunity to showcase what students had learned throughout the entire year. This way, African Americans would engage with their history on a daily basis, and Woodson looked forward to a time when annual celebrations would no longer be necessary. In 1976, a significant moment in history occurred when Black History Week officially transitioned into Black History Month. It's important to note that the influence of Black individuals on culture and history is not confined to the United States alone. Other countries, such as Germany, the United Kingdom, Canada, and the Netherlands, also pay homage to and acknowledge the contributions of Black people. During the late 20th century, Black History Month was often celebrated through educational programs and community events. Schools, libraries, and community centers hosted activities like lectures, film screenings, and musical performances that highlighted the achievements and contributions of Black Americans throughout history. These events aim to educate and inspire individuals of all ages, while fostering a deeper understanding and appreciation of Black history and culture. One notable way Black History Month was celebrated in the late 20th century was through various forms of art. Black musicians, writers, and artists frequently used their creative works to delve into the Black experience in America. These artistic contributions were celebrated through concerts, poetry readings, and art exhibitions that showcased the work of Black artists in cities across the nation. In addition to artistic expressions, Black History Month celebrations also included tributes to Black leaders and activists who had fought for civil rights and social justice. Events honoring figures such as Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks took place in communities throughout the country. These gatherings not only celebrated the legacy of these leaders, but also served as a call to action, inspiring people to continue working towards social justice and equality for all. Overall, Black History Month celebrations in the late 20th century served as a period of reflection, education, and community building. Through a range of events and activities that highlighted both the achievements and struggles of Black Americans, people came together to celebrate their shared history and collaborate towards a more just and equitable society. Regarding the question of whether there should be another month besides February for Black History Month, or if Black history should be celebrated year-round, opinions may vary. Some might argue that Black history should be recognized and celebrated throughout the year, rather than being confined to a single month. Others might believe that designating a specific month provides a dedicated time for focused attention on Black history and culture. The idea of changing Black History Month to coincide with the birthdays of Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela is an interesting proposal, but it would likely involve a broader discussion within the community and society as a whole.